Hey, welcome to this radio video, and this is another one in the series that I'm doing about tuning shortwave from 3 to 30 megahertz in 2 megahertz segments at a time. And so I started off with the 30 megahertz to 28 and 28, 26 and so on. And now I am going to do the 6 to 4 megahertz segment at 0320 UTC on July 26th, 2013. So we'll see what we can hear as signals from 4 to 6 megahertz going backwards, so we're going downwards from 6 to 4 with comments. So on 6 megahertz is Cuba with its strong frequency to North America in English at night. WWCR, Nashville, Tennessee. Radio Japan from France in Japanese.
Will not be shaken by your innuendos, by your winds.
WWCR.
But where's the sacrifice? Well, it's not obvious if you read only the Gospel of Mark. That accounts. But you find the sacrifice over in another Gospel, the Gospel of John. Turn over there.
WTWW from the United States. We are going into the utility band signals now. This is Shannon Volmet, is from Ireland. It is the Ireland Aero weather station. Radio teletype. One interesting information about 5 megahertz here. There's a new band called the 60-meter amateur radio band, and it's quite new. Seldom used, but still I hear signals from time to time. So if you want to hear something special, hear AM radio operators that chit-chat between 5.200 and 5.350. You got a few channels here where you can hear sometimes amateur radio stations, and I've heard not often, but from time to time. Interesting digital signal here. And we are now getting into what's called the tropical band of broadcast stations. To transmit on the tropical band, you usually need to be in a zone that's in the tropical section, and I believe it's the limits are like 30 degrees north and 30 degrees south or something like that, and you're not allowed to transmit out of these boundaries. Lots of amazing signals and interesting stuff to hear. So 50-50 would seem to be WWRB in the United States. This is Radio Havana, Cuba. This is Radio Rebelde, which is another Cuban that's been on that band on frequency for quite a long time. This is WWV time signal on 5 megahertz. There's a little flutter tonight on the frequencies and on the channels. When you hear a signal that has flutter, you can almost be sure that there's some kind of geomagnetic activity. And as I'm watching this, I just see that the K index is 4 at 0300. So that means that the geomagnetic field is a little unsettled. So it will affect some signals. Of course, radio teletype. Tropical band is interesting because there's lots of signals, and especially I would say it's better in the winter. There's no static crashes and maybe a little less noise. And you can hear these stations from Africa, South America, lots of interesting DX there. And often stations are very weak. An interesting tone. You can see the propagation is not that great tonight. This is Brazil, and I usually hear it better than that. WWCR transmits on 4840. Some station on 4755, that's really weak. Possible. Probably some Brazilian station. Very, very weak. And now we're getting back into the utility band for the rest of the 4 megahertz, the lower part of 4 megahertz. With very high noise. This is a weather fax. This is very weak. And over here is a station. I've heard it once, very strong enough to have a good signal. This is Radio Verdad, and it's transmitted from Guatemala. It's quite weak. It has like 1 kilowatt of power. Not strong enough tonight to go through the noise. But I did have last winter. There was a time when there's like a geomagnetic activity was going on, and signals from east and west were not really coming in strong, but there was a really, really strong signals coming from the south, and it was about this late evening, and I heard it really well. Unfortunately, didn't have the time to actually take the camera and film it, because it was ending the transmissions. So by the time that I took the camera, it was off air, so I couldn't show it. But that's a nice DX catch. And this is a radio teletype. And here we are now at 4 megahertz, so we did 6 to 4. Once again, lots of signal. As you see, very noisy towards the lower part of 5 and 4 megahertz. It will usually get noisy in most areas that we actually listen to, because this is where the noise is probably strongest as we go lower and lower in frequency, unfortunately. So hope you enjoyed these videos and this series of videos. I really enjoy making them. And so this was tuning from 4 to 6 megahertz. Hope you enjoyed 73.